Mark, is that going to be your role this year? You're going to be get a lot more aggressive and get some more points inside?
Yeah, I hope so. That's something I've been working on. Getting stronger in the weight room allows me to kind of play more down low, so I'm going to definitely keep working on that. I want to be more of a scorer.
What can you do when a team just was shooting threes like crazy at the start of the game? How do you just persevere or just say they're going to cool off once and they're going to cool off? Let's hope it's not sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, you really have to adjust and change the way you're playing D so you can get out and get a hand up, challenge the shot better, and yeah, you just got to keep playing.
I feel pretty good about the effort today. I know you're coming off of a tough road trip. You went 1-1 against two good teams. I know effort was something that he was kind of looking at coming into this game. How do you guys feel about that?
We felt good coming off the road trip, but we get back and everybody say it was good. We could have went 0-2, but we wasn't happy with going 1-1. We should have been 2-0 coming off of that, and it hurt to lose up there. A lot of people say it was in the ref hands, but we had a chance to win the game. So we lost. We moved on from it, and the tough thing was to move on and try to get a win, and that's what we did.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything he said. Like, people were like saying good road trip and stuff because we had got so close, but we should have won both games. So.
Do you have any extra incentive coming out today with the foul trouble that you really had?
Yeah, I was trying definitely to not foul as much. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just stay on my feet, hands up, because the new rules this year.
I'm just going to say, how much of that is that, do you think, the new rules and adjusting?
It's definitely an adjustment to get used to, because I've had some previous foul trouble in my history, so it's definitely affected me. So hopefully it's something I can get better at.
Darren, what does the addition of Derek Jackson bring to this team?
D-Jack, he just makes everybody want to play defense, Like, people know me, I don't like playing defense at all. And Coach put me and him on practice and on the same team in practice when we do defensive drills, and I think he do it on purpose, And like he brings energy. He's always talking on defense. He's always in the right place. He just makes everybody want to play defense.
Did you face him when he was at CMU?
No, I was in junior college then.
Okay.
Darren, you scored 10. You scored a lot of your points early when you guys fell behind, kind of keep your team in it at that point. And then second half, you kind of turned into the facilitator.
Yeah, I mean, like last year, we had Randall and Chris Evans, and like I told y'all, I was coming out of junior college. I was used to being the scorer all the time, so I had to find another way to feel like I was involved with the team and helping them win, or when we lost, not feel like that I didn't do enough. So I see that a lot of attention is on me when I have the ball, and so guys is open. So I'm just gonna try to find them, and then once they knocking down shots, then I can do what I got to do or whatever else is open.
You guys outscoring 36-18 inside. Talk about that effort today.
It's just the bigs. We've been working hard, and we know that we got to improve because last year we didn't have a great year for the down low. So we're just being more aggressive, I think, practicing harder, going harder against each other.
Well, the second half in particular, I thought we played very well defensively and offensively. Overall, it was nice to get a home win. I think they're well coached. I think they're very. I think that he does a lot with not a ton of resources there at St. Peter's, and I'm happy that we were able to get a win because I respect the heck out of Coach Dunn and the program that he's trying to put together there, and I'm happy for our guys. We got a lot of guys contribute, and I thought we played pretty well, especially in the second half.
Listening to you talking on the radio heading in today, and you did something that maybe you don't normally do. You pointed 3 guys out specifically that you really wanted to see kind of pick it up. 2 of them were Mark and Melvin.
Yeah.
And I really thought you saw that, especially in the second half. And obviously that's something that not only would you say there, but you probably have been saying to them, especially coming after the loss to Seton Hall with Mark getting into such early foul trouble.
Yeah, him and Melvin both have gotten in a lot of foul trouble in games. And I really believe in all of the guys on our roster. I think, I don't know how many guys played in the first half, probably 11, maybe even 12 played in the first half. I'm not sure if that's the number or not, but it's not as if we were up 20 and I'm putting 12 guys in. I'm going to play a lot of guys until guys either make me not play them or other guys take such command of the position in terms of how well they play that I have to just play those guys more. So with that being said, I like our depth, and Mark just hasn't really had a chance to do much, and Mel hasn't had a chance to do much because they've been getting in foul trouble, and I believe in both of those guys. So tonight it was Mel's turn and Mark's turn, and Kalik didn't play a ton tonight, coming off his best game, and I got to find minutes for Kalik. But I'd rather be in a situation where I got to try to find minutes for guys and then wondering who the heck is going to do anything. So it puts some pressure on you when you go in the game. You have to get a rebound. I got to be in a stance defensively. I got to make a play. Doesn't mean score. It means make a right play or be in the right spot. So I thought it was good that Mark and Mel both played well. Who was the third guy that I talked about? KK, who I also thought came in and really provided a spark. He only played 4 minutes in Seton Hall and didn't play very well. And I thought he provided a big spark for us. I mean, again, some of the things you're not going to see. He had 2 assists of our 15 and 14 minutes. That's a great job. He's finding guys, making plays for others. That's really what we're about. So I thought he played very well. I thought all 3 of those guys played well.
Coach, how much fun is it for you as a coach to play and you had 10 guys score today, to have that kind of option and those kind of toys to play with? How much fun is it as a coach to have all these guys that can really play the basket?
Well, it's good to see that we're sharing the basketball, that we're playing unselfishly. We do have a lot of guys who I think have the ability to score and make plays. It makes practice good. It means that you got to bring it every day. And it's going to take everyone on our roster for us to be successful. So some days it may be your turn, some days it may be somebody else's turn. The one thing that I do like about our team so far is that at least on the bench and in the locker room and in practice, there's a lot of guys pulling for each other. And again, I keep going back to the fact that, if we're going to be any good, that's how it's got to be for us. We had no all-conference players preseason. Nobody that was mentioned as being this elite player. So for us to win, we're going to have to do it collectively. And you know what? I think if we do it collectively, people will start to recognize some of the individuals for being pretty good players.
Well, I asked Darren, and I'll ask the head man now, what does it mean to have a guy like a Derek Jackson just come into the program and his experience in later on in January with MAC play? What does that mean to this team?
Well, I think his play has been really, really good. He's almost unselfish to a fault sometimes. I thought in the Seton Hall game he didn't try to do enough. He played a lot of minutes in that game and didn't try to do enough. He sort of just blended in. I love his energy. I love his defensive mindset. He's a good scorer. He's very athletic, as you see. He makes some really athletic plays. He's a good player and he's a good kid. And I'm really happy that he's here. Obviously, that goes without saying. I mean, I'm glad that he's a part of this year.
Starts of halves are supposed to be important, but they really scored.
Yeah.
Most of their points in the starts of each half, and you pretty much just shut them down from that point.
Yeah.
It's a loss.
Yeah. You know what? It's something we need to address because it's been a number of games where we haven't started defensively. Like, we've scored, but we haven't started defensively as good as we need to. I don't disagree with you at all. In fact, I agree with you. It's something that I brought up at halftime and I've brought up after games where, we need to start the halves defensively the way the middle towards the end of the halves go. So it's something we'll work on. And again, we are a work in progress. I mean, that goes without saying. So hopefully we'll continue to get better in those areas. That's something that we're certainly going to focus on, and hopefully we'll get better at it.
You knew that St. Peter's was going to be kind of pesky coming in when they started hitting those threes like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And again, you got to give them credit for making them. And at the same time, I don't think our defensive intensity was where it needed to be. But you know what? You got to give them credit because you know, sometimes you're open and you miss shots too. And I think later in the half, they had some open looks that maybe they say, boy, I wish we could have made this one. That's the game of basketball. But I think that they have a pesky team. I do. I think that the kid Desi Washington, he's struggling right now. He averaged 15 a game last year. He's struggling to shoot. I would hope to think that that Derek Gardenham had something to do with that. He shot 3 for 12. I would hope that that had something to do with it. And we'll continue to put Derek on the other team's best perimeter option. So, we just got to keep getting better, and hopefully, on Thursday we'll be better than we were today.
I think both Darren and Mark both mentioned how they were disappointed, and everybody else is kind of saying, "Wow, that was a good trip you guys just had." And that they were disappointed about being 1-1. Can you just talk about coming into this game? Was there that a little bit of a motivating factor and that type of thing?
Well, I'm glad that they were disappointed because I got the sense from the people that I talked to, and it's natural, I understand it, that people are patting you on the back for winning on the road, which it is a great win for us. And Seton Hall, we had a chance to win that game, and it was a good road trip for us, okay? So I'm not saying that it wasn't, but I didn't want these guys feeling like they had accomplished anything. Like, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to try to win both games. I wanted them to play angry or disappointed in the fact that we didn't win both. And I felt, again, we won by 17 points, and we held them to 40% field goal percentage. We didn't send them to the line a lot like we did Seton Hall. I thought we tried to play without fouling for the most part, and I thought we did a good job. We shared the ball. We had a lot of guys contribute. So I think we did play that way. And now we have the next section of our schedule coming up that we're going to have to play even better to win those games because we're playing 3 really good teams.
One of the things that kind of keeps coming up after every game, and I anticipated that it would, is the rule change in defense and how you can guard a guy. Can you kind of just address how, it sounds like you guys did quite a bit that you could in the preseason to get ready for that with, the officials did some of the practices and scrimmages and that, but obviously it's something that's just it's one of those things that just has to take time getting used to because it's such a natural thing to do to use your.
Yeah, I think that what it is that, there's games that are going to be officiated incredibly tight, and there's games that, this game was no different than any other game. When we played Temple, it was no different than any other game. The Seton Hall game, we had a lot of fouls. I don't know if the new rules were the reason for the fouls or if they just were calling it tighter against us or whatever it may be. I do think there's an adjustment period, but to me, I think, the mindset that we're taking is that you can't use that as an out. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to play any differently. Like, I want us on the defensive end to be just as aggressive, be just as physical. And you know what? If there's a game that we get a ton of fouls called against us because of that, then we'll have to make some adjustments during the game. I do not want our kids, and I don't think we have. I don't want us changing the way we play using, well, I don't want to get a hand check. That's a cop-out. So.
I wondered if it's a fine line with a guy like Henninger, though, who kind of struggles in that sense in
Yeah,
general, and
yeah.
then add that on top of it, and it makes him a little tentative.
Yeah, Mark's fouls though in the Seton Hall game. One of them was on an out of bounds play that he sort of was late and he missed it, and one of them was because Darren didn't defend and Mark was covering up for him and got there a little late. Like, that had zero to do with anything other than, he got himself 2 quick fouls because one of them on him and one of them on Darren because Darren didn't guard the way he needs to. So, but that happens in the game, and I think that was a game where that just happened. I don't think that's something that's going to always happen. Guys like Melvin has to really be in tune because he was in foul trouble last year. So it's not like the new rule is the reason he's in foul trouble. The reason he's in foul trouble is because sometimes he's not as mentally into it as he needs to be to keep himself on the court. And you know what? We're better when Melvin plays. He's an offensive threat. He's athletic. He's strong. He can drive the ball and create fouls for the other team. He's got a nice 17-foot jump shot. He's a good passer. He's a good free throw shooter. Like, he's a pretty good player when he's on the floor and he's playing the right way. So we need to find a way to play him more. And at the same time, he needs to be so in tune to what we're doing that he doesn't pick up dumb fouls, so to speak,
You got to play second half. I think it put you at 15. You had Goodson actually bring the ball up the floor. And he ended up with the ball and he took it out.
To Kellen, yeah. And we have a series of plays where Darren's sort of like a point guard. And he's not the first person we've done that with. and I hope he's not the last person that we do that with. That sort of, we like to sometimes play through our forwards, and that's a series that we have. I mean, we have a ton of plays. This play card, I don't want anybody seeing it, but there's a lot of them on there, and there's a series where Darren runs at the point, and we've got a couple different options out of that, and we'll continue to evolve that as he continues to play well and continues to move the ball. I mean, tonight I thought was maybe his best game, or one of his best games as an offensive player since he's been here. He really passed the ball. We had a couple times where he could have had 8 or 9 assists. We got fouled on a couple times where guys made free throws where had they finished or had there been a layup, he might have had 8 assists on the game, and he ended up with 5. I thought he did a great job moving the ball, and also having a balance of moving the ball and taking some shots when he was open too.
Having him bring the ball up, is that a part of facilitating him with the mindset of passing and getting everybody involved?
Yeah, a little bit. And sometimes that series will allow him to score in there too and do some different things. But yeah, it's more just you have a power forward type guy who is a good ball handler, or is a good passer. You want to try to find ways to get him the ball in different areas where he can make plays for guys.
If you could just address, you say the next 3 games are really tough. Can you just address what you're thinking on that, putting those 3 together and why?
Yeah, well, it's a tournament. It's the Coaches vs. Cancer tournament. Game 1 was us playing at Seton Hall, and the way the tournament works is that you play. There's 4 host teams: Michigan State, Seton Hall, Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech, and those 4 teams play a bunch of us, and then they go to the Barclays Center. And next week, I think they play 2 doubleheaders there in the Barclays Center. The rest of the teams in that event play different ones, like USC Upstate beat Virginia Tech. Niagara lost to Seton Hall, and there's a couple other games in there. I think the other night Columbia's in that event. They're going someplace else, but they played Michigan State in that event. So
How did you guys end up hosting them?
that was I was fortunate. The NABC called me about it. A guy who organizes the event, who we do a lot of different exempt events each year. So they called me and said they had a need for it. We're called a sub-host. Us and there's a team, I think it's Portland, that will bring 3 teams. There'll be 2 doubleheaders here next week and 2 doubleheaders at Portland next week. I think Portland. Columbia is going out to Portland. They played Michigan State, and I don't know all the other teams involved, but so we're fortunate. We get 3 games at home in a doubleheader format each night. 3 really good mid-major teams. Niagara, who won the league that these guys were in last year. USC Upstate, who has really good perimeter players, and I haven't seen enough of them, but I know some of the kids because they beat us a couple years ago with some of those kids as freshmen. They went to Virginia Tech and won, and they were up for about 32 minutes against Tennessee last night, and then they lost. I know they're really good. And then we open up with Western Carolina, who, people in Ohio who know Coach Hunter. He's a phenomenal coach. I mean, a phenomenal coach with a good team. That they played Oregon in their first or second game, and they lost it, but it was like a 3-point game with 9-10 minutes. I mean, they're good. So I think it's a great test for us because we play in the MAC tournament later in the year, and to win the MAC tournament, you basically have to win 3 games in 3 days. Now, the difference is in the MAC tournament, if you lose, you're done, and if you lose on Thursday, we still got to bounce back and play Friday. But the concept of having to get yourself ready for 3 games in 3 days, I think that's important for us, and I'm really thankful that we have the opportunity to do that because I think it'll help our team.
Do these guys seem to come together a little quicker than maybe you would have expected?
You know what, I think every game is a new game, and I think we're going to have to see how hard we play and how well we play and how together we play on Thursday. I'm happy with the fact that we're 3-1. I'd like to be 4-0 right now, but we just as easy. I mean, those guys practice and they got scholarship players. I mean, Temple's got a great program. We could just as easily be 2-2 or 1-3, and I'd still feel like, hey, we have a long way to go no matter what. I really feel that way. We're at the beginning stages of the season, and we've got to focus on continuing to get better, and that be our single focus.